Um, okay, I think we are live now.
Okay.
All right.
Hi,
So
Joseph.
thank you,
Hello.
thank you, thank you enough for joining me
Oh,
today.
thank you so much for having
It's a
me. Thank
beautiful day.
you.
It's a beautiful day, and I'm really, really, really excited to have you on board.
Thank
So,
you.
just by the way of introduction, in the way I can describe you now as the powerhouse frontwoman of Ibibio Sound Machine, whose music is just a thrilling combination of African tradition and futuristic soundscapes. And these songs are delivered mainly in the Ibibio language and in English. And she carries the the voice, I can call her the voice of the Ibibio language across the world. We have a lot of people from the Ibibio extraction in Nigeria, southeastern part of Nigeria, Akwa Ibom, Cross River, Abia, part of rivers, Western Cameroon, Equatorial Guinea. I understand Ghana, I understand Trinidad and Tobago, Bahamas, Cuba, and Southern California. So she's the voice, she's this person that is using that dialect to push music, and the world is appreciating it. Thank you for joining me once again.
Thank you,
And
Joseph.
I'll just dig straight because normally I like dwelling on the music, but then for your case, we cannot talk of the music alone. We have to start from the beginning, where you've been, your
Yeah.
childhood, where you were born, and the time, most especially the time you spent in Nigeria, because a lot of Nigeria needs to know about you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So thank you so much, Joseph, for having me. It's a pleasure to be here to share the music and share my background as well. Yes, I was born in London, but I spent a lot of my childhood in Nigeria. Story has it that my grandma took us back. We were called her basket kids. It was myself and
Wow.
my sister. She took us back to Nigeria where we were able to experience the culture. So I spent a lot of time in Lagos. Went to school in Calabar, went to secondary school in Calabar, university, did a little bit of university in Uyo, University of
Whoa.
Uyo, and we
That's
went to
solid.
Federal Government Girls College, Calabar.
Oh.
Yes, so yeah. Yeah, so pretty much, yeah. I mean, my family, I'd say I'm from all around Akwa Ibom because my grandparents are from Itu and Bagitam Itu.
Oh.
My stepdad is from Ibesipo Afawudoyup. My
Oh.
dad, my biological father, is from Ikodabasi. So I probably would say, yeah, I'm a child of the soil, pretty much, yeah.
Yeah, that's beautiful. I'm actually from Uyo.
Oh wow.
Do you know the connection between Itam and of what? There's something
No?
about okay. There's something about like how do I describe it? Like sister tribe or something like that.
Right.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
That's what I
Okay.
learned growing up. So
Wow.
that done. So for your music now, what would you say? Because I saw Afro funk band.
Mm.
There's electronic, there's the EDM thing going on in your
Yeah,
music.
yeah, yeah.
There's jazz. So all these things, where did you pick the influences from?
So I'll go back a bit because I've always been. I mean, when we were growing up, my mom actually kind of started a little group with myself and my sisters. We were called Epsi, but we used to do like a lot of church events, and then I moved to study in England. But in doing that, I always used to like sing in church and I did like a lot of sessions and just different things. But I always sang in English, and I remember one time with my grandma, she was like just teasing. She was like, "Oh, you're always singing in English. When are you ever going to sing in Ibibio?"
Oh,
And we kind of laughed about it. We cackled about it. I was like, "Really, grandma? Like, is anyone going to understand this?" And then she was like, "Yeah, why not? Why not?" And then so fast forward a few years after, a friend of mine actually, a drummer friend of mine whose band I used to play sometimes, was doing a wedding, and the couple, I think the gentleman was from Akwa Ibom and the wife was Yoruba, and he was like, "Oh, am I doing this wedding? Would you like to come and do like a song?" So I took I think it was Have I told you lately? I can't remember the artist now, but it's like an old, really, really old song. So I sort of transcribed it into Ibibio and sang it in Ibibio, and they
Wow.
actually loved it. So, and then I told my grandma, "Oh, look what I did! You know, I told my mom, and I sang it to my mom. My mom was like, "Oh, that's actually quite nice." And then, so a few years later, I was, I mean, kind of with my partner. I was just telling him about the stories that I got told as a child growing up. You know, things like the talking fish and the crackback tortoise, like just folk stories that I kind of remember. And I was just like sort of singing, just trying to make melody with some of the phrases. And then it was like, oh, what's that? I was like, oh, it's Ibibio. It's my language, my family, the language that my family, told me stories growing up as a child. And I was like, well, that's really rhythmic. And so we just started just trying. I was pretty much an experiment, just trying out. He would give me some beats, and then we listened. He kind of we found this old Nigeria 70s records that had like the funkies, like a lot of old school that people I didn't even know about, So I kind of really got into the sounds like, oh my God, this is really interesting. I really so I started trying to like mimic some of the sounds and then just write some of the phrasing with the beats and everything. And then just one song led to 2 songs, then to 3 songs. And before we knew it, we had like a whole like album material. And then at the time, he was working with a group called Konkoma. Konkoma consists of some Ghanaian friends of ours, who's one of the guitarists, Alfred Bannerman, used to be in Osibisa. So I'd done some like vocals. I did like some writing with them and performed on the track as well. So at the time, they were signed to Soundway. And so when we had all that body of work, we kind of shopped it to Soundway. And someone was like, this is really interesting. We've not had this before. And they decided, okay, maybe, come up with just keep writing. And so Max, who we sort of started the project with, he's like from a jazz background. Max, Scott, and Tony, they're like from the jazz background. So that's where their jazz influence came into play. And Tony, who plays the trombone in the band currently, he's more into the synths and the moogs and the SH101. That's where you get all the EDM sounds from. So all that combination. And then we also had a friend of ours, Anselmo, who's Brazilian. He brought like the whole Brazilian influence. And then Alfred, who's we call him a highlife, maestro. He's from Ghana.
Yeah.
So he had because I kind of resonated with the sound because it's very much like Nigerian highlife anyway. Mm-hmm. So like all that combination, we're just like all trying just different, experimenting with different sound with our highlife sound, with the electronic sound, and then we came up with all the material, and that's kind of how it all came about. And when we did the first record, it was like, oh my God, this is really interesting. We've not really heard anything like this. When is the second album coming out? So it was always, the bar was always being pushed. Every time we make a record, people were like, oh, this is really, really good. When is the next one coming out? And so we've just gone through just writing. We're constantly always writing anyway. So that's how pretty much the whole mash up thing together.
Okay. I'll still go back to your early days as a child. Yeah. You used a lot of, I listened to some of the things, but just a lot of the folk things we used to hear. Where did that, is that your grandma?
My grandma, my mom. To be honest, because funny enough, we spent a lot of time in Lagos, but over Christmas time, we would always go to, well, at the time, it was Cross River. Then yes. It was Cross River, yes. It was Cross River at the time. And then when it got split, of course, Akwa Ibom, but we would always go on Christmas holidays. And I remember just ever so often, once in a while, we'd just sit around. There would be a fireplace, and there would be like my grandparent, my grandpa's maybe uncle or brother. There will always be people around and just telling stories and just joking and drinking palm wine. Just things that for me as a child was just really fascinating. And then there were times at Christmas time when the Ekpe masquerades would parade down the mall, like come down to the house, and then they'd be singing and telling stories. And then I think as a child, my ears would pick up on a lot of the things, and I used to be really excited about story time. You know,
Wow.
the Ekon. I remember Ekon
Ekonke.
and all that. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So I used to be so fascinated about that, and you know, and then my mom was really like quite instrumental because you know she always made sure my mom and my grandma they always made sure that we were always you know whatever we did, whatever happened in town, we were always back. You know, December time we would always be around for Christmas just to gather, get the families together, and just bring everyone together. You know, break bread,
that
eat
was
together.
that was a good one from your parents. That means
Yeah,
they
yeah,
relocated from UK to Nigeria
yes, yes,
all
pretty
this
much,
time.
yeah,
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 okay.
yeah.
Okay, so really, I never knew you spent much time in Nigeria,
Yes,
like
I did,
school
I
and
did.
everything.
Yeah, I
I
did. I
know.
mean, I think I think it was all about they wanted to make sure that we experienced, you know, our cultural background and our cultural heritage as well.
Okay, because that's one big problem where even including myself having as
Yeah,
parents now. I mean, kids some not being able to speak the language
yeah.
is really sad. Yeah.
Well, the thing is, there's something I read. I think it was Aristotle. You know, said you know, as individuals, as human beings, you should language is our identity, and you know, I
Yes.
think we're blessed as Africans. You know, as Nigerians, as you know, Caribbeans or you know whatever that identity, the fact that you have an identity, even with the English, you know, everybody has an identity. So it's like you know your language because that's what makes you you. That's what
Yeah.
makes you unique. So that I think that's also another thing that has kind of made me kind of advocate for the Ibibio language being introduced into music because it hadn't really been done, and it was a way of trying to like protect and keep and you know maintain the culture
Yeah.
because you know it's kind of one of those things that you know it can very easily be forgotten because it's not
Yes,
like
true.
it's not a major Nigerian language anyway.
Language. Yeah.
But you know, people don't. When you think of Nigeria, think of Hausa, Igbo, Yoruba,
Yoruba.
and even now when they say to people, "Oh, I speak Ibibio language," or "I'm from Ibibio," and they're like, "Oh, which tribe is
What?
that? Where is that? I don't know that one." They say Igbo. I'm like, "No, it's not Igbo. It's Ibibio. It's different. It's the southeastern." And they're like, "Okay, I didn't know about that." And then I tell
Yeah.
people that okay, this is you know, it's an ancient tribe, it's an ancient language, but you know, it's all about preserving the
The
culture.
culture. Yeah. You know what? Let me say something about the language thing. Like you said already, it's not one of. I think it should be the fifth. There's this thing
Yeah,
about the jaw being the fourth. I don't know which one is bigger between the jaw
yeah,
language and the BBO, or maybe BBO feet
yeah,
is bigger than the jaw.
yeah.
Music wise, I discovered that's a limitation for our people because even at a Nigerian level, I can just
Mm-hmm.
pick up maybe two songs that broke through that barrier to become national
Mm-hmm.
hits. That's
Mm-hmm.
delivered in the BBO language.
Mm-hmm.
And that would be Akana Nkwe, the gospel song.
I can well, that's right. Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah,
gospel music
yes.
that's breaking out with
Broken through. Yeah.
Ibibio language.
That
That's
one
true.
went through everybody, north, south, east,
Yeah,
everybody jumped on the
yeah.
sang it. Then another one would be Abasia, yeah, that's Father Basi.
Yeah, that's right. That's true.
Yeah,
Because
so
they're
that one
gospel, they're
broke through.
church. Yeah, because they're church songs, and you don't have to remember. So church, I feel like because faith. I mean, faith has kind of been a thing. I think it's a global thing, but faith has for me. I just remember faith being like a very key thing in Akwa Ibom, in the South, in Nigeria generally. So
Yeah.
I think in terms of like lyrical, Ibibio lyrical content, they thrived more in church music, you know,
Yeah,
because
it's true.
everybody went to church on Sunday and everybody sang the songs. And even if you didn't go to church, you'd know about the song because they're like mainstream, sort of mainstream pop
It's
songs,
true.
pretty much. Yeah.
It's true. So
Yeah.
then you decided to sing in BBO. Do you think it was a big risk you're taking? I mean, how?
Of course it was a risk. Of course it was a risk. Of course it was a risk. But
To
the
an
thing about
international
it,
audience, right?
yeah, but you know the funny thing, I think it still comes back to that thing of originality and being unique because of course, yes, I'm a black woman in England and you would automatically think, okay, I'm probably gonna sing jazz, I'm probably gonna sing pop, I'm gonna probably sing soul, probably sing R&B, gospel. I mean, I've got gospel roots anyway. I love gospel music. But I feel like, I mean, going back to what my grandma had said, jokingly even, she's like, yeah, you always sing in English. When are you going to sing in Ibibio? And I think for her, it was because I feel like she from coming from nothing and being a trailblazer in a world where at the time it was mainly a man's world.
Yeah.
But she made her mark as a woman in a man's world. And I think it was a thing of subconsciously trying to say, well, yes, you've been doing this, but this is also your identity. You can tap into your identity because that's what makes you unique and that's what makes you original. And because I was trying to sing about stories I was told as a child, if you translate a lot of those stories to English, yes, they might sound all right, but the authenticity is not really there.
It's not really there. Yeah.
Yeah. So the originality, because I'm singing in Ibibio, it sounds a bit more authentic and it sounds more original. And the fact that, because I find like music is a universal language. So whether or not people understand what you're singing, I mean, I love a lot of I love Latin music. I love French music. I love, but sometimes I listen to this music and I don't even understand
Yeah.
what is being conveyed, but it's just there's a connection, there's a musicality, there's a feeling. So when of course I thought, okay, well, let's do this, it was a risk because I felt like the first person I was like, okay, well, no one's going to understand it for one, but the fact that no one understands it, there's a connection because of the musicality and because of the spirit behind the music, I feel like, as well, because people always ask, oh my god, what are you singing about, what is that? But then I always sort of try and give like a background and synopsis that, oh, this is what the song is talking about, this is the story behind the song. And a lot of times people are like, oh my god, wow, that is so beautiful, because it's the authenticity. And then I think as human beings, a lot of times what you don't know is what makes you curious,
yeah,
because you think, oh my god, what is that about? And then people think, oh, the talking fish. And then I tell the story about the talking fish. It's about, the seeming things of, not looking at things the way they are. And then there's a poetic, there's a almost like just a mystery about what you don't know. And then you ask questions about that. So it was a risk, yes, going back to that, it was a risk, but I always feel like, well, if you're going to stand out, you're going to do what's going to make you stand out anyway. And that's what happened. And is in that standing out, I think that people have begun to ask, okay, what is it about? We've never heard this before. And then a lot of times people are like, oh my God, what's she singing about? How come you're not singing in English? So obviously we decided, okay, we'll do the Ibibio, but also translate what the song talks about. So there's a lot of repetition, which is the way that, we think anyway. In the Ibibio, there's a lot of repetition, just almost to convey the message. Because I remember when we told stories about something, as you know, like there's a lot of folk tales and proverbs, and all that is more about the moral.
Yeah.
A lot of times, and there was a lot of repetition. And I think now as an adult, I think that all that repetition was all about something just staying in your mind. The more you hear it, the more it's repeated, then it just sticks in your mind. Yeah.
Okay, but how does it go? How is the flow like within your band? Because you're the only Nigerian, the only person that speaks Igbo. How did they receive it first time that you say, I have this song in this title? How is the flow? How do you manage?
Oh, they're actually, the funny thing, the band, they love it, because I mean, now the band has evolved so much. When we started, it was myself and my partner, and then we had, the funny thing is just like, I always believe that when things are meant to happen, there's a connection, and there's people, like sometimes you have people thinking along the same line somewhat. So we had two of our French friends. It was Leon Bichard and Benji Bouton. They were also thinking along the same line. They wanted to do like an African project, but weren't really sure how or what it was going to be like. And then we, on the other hand, we're sort of just experimenting with this concept of, okay, Ibibio language and music. And it was kind of a trial thing, except more like a bedroom, what we would call a bedroom experiment. Yeah. On the other hand, they were trying to do something, and then it's like, okay, then we kind of oh, we're trying to do this, and they're like, oh yeah, we've been wanting to do something like that. And so with their musicality, and then with our experiment, that kind of brought the whole thing together. And then, but then now we got Ghanaian, we got like Ghanaians in the band, we got Australian, we got English. But it's just a case of, it's about rhythms. The language is so rhythmic and musical anyway. So every time I'd say a phrase or sing a phrase, they're like, oh my God, that's really interesting. Yeah, that will work with this, you know. Or they'll be playing a beat, or they'll play a sound or play a sample, and I'll just come in, and then a phrase, I'll just phrase maybe a melody or phrase something in Ibibio, and they're like, oh my God, that kind of works, you know. And then that would be the start of the whole, either a song or the start of the idea. Yeah, so it's very organic the way we write. Sometimes I would have like a song, or I mean, like recently, like I told you about, I found this. I've been looking to try and reference Afrofusion because I like her classical reference, and then I found this song, Mama Bo, and just the phrase Mama Bo, I've just sort of been looping it around and just trying to come up with a whole song, or song idea with it as well.
Okay. So the first time I heard Ibibio Sound Machine, the first thing that popped in my mind was Gloria Estefan.
Yes. Yes. Right.
What was that an inspiration, or, you know?
So, like I said earlier, I've always loved Latin. I've loved Latin music. I've loved Spanish, you know, because I feel like the funny thing, I think because the rhythms are very, very reminiscent of African rhythms as well. Yes. And I guess that's because of the linkage to Cuban music. I think that it's just it all originates from Africa anyway. I feel like so. I feel like there's a correlation with the Ibibio highlife, Afro highlife, and Cuban music and Latin music. So I always loved Gloria Estefan, and I got opportunity of working on cruises many years ago. And one of the songs I had to like do was the rhythm's gonna get you, and quite a few of her songs that we had to do in the show. And I just kind of loved the rhythm, I loved the beat. And then in the section of the show, we had to like, the costume designers happened to design the costume like with African what you call it?
Fabrics,
more like African fabrics and African, just what, I don't know why, but they just came up with that with the African concept. And then I would tell them, oh yeah, you know, I'm of African background, you know, I was born in England, but my family's from Nigeria and everything. And so they were like really excited, like, oh my God, so that means you're really going to do justice to the songs anyway. So I fell in love with all that. And then I think a few years after, when we're like just thinking of, you know, the name, I thought of so many different names, things like something nights as well were in there. And just different concepts. And I just thought, Ibibio Sound Machine. And it was kind of a joke. It was kind of a joke. But for the lack of any other name, we just thought, oh yeah, you know what? The guys in the band, but yeah, that sounds fine. That sounds actually good. And then I guess because Miami Sound Machine, there was that maybe correlation to Miami Sound Machine as well. So I figured, well, Ibibio, the language, the lyrics, then the machines, of course, the guys in the band who are like more electronic with the jazz. I mean, I think because I just felt like the pairing, you wouldn't think of Ibibio and sound and machine, but that's kind of what it has evolved to, because that's what it is, you know, just the electronic side of the music and of course the lyrical side of the music as well.
Okay, do you know if they had called the band Eno, it would have been like the Sade Ado of British music now?
I always think there's something about, but I don't know. I always feel like there's something about being a bit on the cover, incognito somehow. I don't know. I feel like sometimes some things don't need to be obvious.
Yeah.
You know, maybe. I don't know. Yeah.
That's the way I'm looking at it, probably at the new Sade, because like it's just the name. If it was a no, you know, Sade the band, Sade do the singer, would have just been like that. But then
I don't know. I mean, I guess things are. I suppose things are it's what it is, isn't it? Yeah, it's what it is. Yeah.
Okay. So, now, what does it really feel like playing in front of large festival crowds like Glastonbury, which I know you have performed like twice?
Yeah.
What's the experience
Yeah.
performing on a stage like on a platform like Glastonbury?
It's been great, you know. I mean, we're so thankful to all our friends that always come out and support. We've had so many people, you know, supporting us. It's daunting, it's nerve-wracking, but it's been a great platform because every time we go out to play festivals, like the audiences are always just so loving and so supporting, always giving us so much love. A lot of times it's just like a pinch me moment, you know, whereby this person, this girl from, you know, just going through the journey. I always say that we've crossed so many oceans to be, you know, in front of such audiences because going back on my heritage, you know, from Akwa Ibom, Ibibio, and just bringing this music to like an audience that, you know, don't even speak the language, but then they connect and they really resonate with the music and they're always turning out time after time after time, you know, to support the music. So we're just really, really thankful. We're grateful. It's always great. It's always really, really great. Sometimes, you know, sometimes they bring me to tears because it gets really emotional a lot of times, you know,
Yeah.
when they're
Oh,
singing the songs as well. You know, you teach like things like talking fish and they're singing asem semi yak, you know.
yeah.
Sing, honestly, it's always that's just like just just humbling. It's
Yeah.
always so humbling. So
Okay.
I always say thank you so much to the friends out there that support us time and time and over and over again.
Okay. Have you speaking about talking about audience now? Have you ever like go through some of the comments they make on maybe
Um,
shows or
and yeah, on yeah, the a lot of times, we don't you don't they you won't see so much of the comments, but after because
Mhm.
most times
I'm talking about
we
after? Yeah.
yeah, we go and they come backstage. A lot of times they come backstage, they want to meet us and they're like, oh my goodness, you know, they've never seen anything like this. They've never danced so much. Oh my God, I don't ever dance. I've never danced, you know, but your music just makes me dance so much. Oh my God. I mean, there was a lady one time was it in Liverpool? We did a festival in Liverpool and she came up to me and she was like, oh my God, I had to come to this festival. I had to come to this festival because last year I was going to have an operation, and somebody introduced me to your music, and I listened to the chant all the way through to my
Yeah.
surgery.
The
And
chant is Ikwaisang or something like
yes,
Ikwaisang. Yeah.
and yeah, I listened to the chant, you know, all the way till I had my surgery, and I'm doing okay now. I'm still in recovery, but I just had to come to this festival, and I had to come and tell you, and so things like that, and it just makes you think that, oh my goodness, you know, the way people feel. I guess the vibe, because we're all about the positive vibe, the spirituality and everything, because we always pray before shows as well. So it's just hearing things like that, just encourage. It's just like really encouraging, really humbling, you know, and it just keeps us going. It just keeps us going, keeps us making music. Just keeps us writing more and more and more songs. Yeah.
Okay, let me humble you the more because I had to. Let me
Oh
humble
God,
you.
Joseph.
No, I had to. Let me read some comments that I picked. Somebody
Oh dear.
said, I saw a lady with a bright orange dress and I clicked, then found the most beautiful surprise ever. This was so jubilant the whole time. Even the way she pronounces electricity or the way the band is just relentless in make in making happy noise. That's one.
Oh God.
I'll read another one. Somebody said, "You torture me. You know you do, making me wait 3 years for a new album. Thank you for."
Oh.
Oh, thank you for dropping something. This is what the world needs now. I have no idea what you are saying, but damn, it is perfect. Thank you, and so on and so forth. How do you feel?
It's humbling. It's so humbling. It's so. I mean, sometimes I'm really speechless, because I mean, we got into this I love music. I love music, but then the funny things, like I remember when I told my dad, I trained as an accountant and worked for a bit, and then I told my dad that, in fact, I actually couldn't bring myself to tell my dad that I was going to go into music. I just couldn't. I was like, I was so scared. But it kind of summed up the courage. And then I told my mom was fine with it, because my mom was always encouraging anyway. She was always like, you know what, whatever you guys want to do, it's fine. And then I eventually told my dad. Then my I think my sister must have been the first to tell, because my sister was also doing music. And we were like, okay, I don't know. We're just gonna tell him anyway. And then he was like, because I was like, are you going to sing more than Michael Jackson? That was the first thing. So I thought, oh no, all hell is gonna break loose. But anyway, it was out. The cat was out of the basket, and we're like, okay, you know what, it's done now. So I think after that, I kind of felt like, okay, that weight is off my shoulder now. So, it's either going to be this or not. And then I just carried on. You know what? There's no looking back now. I just have to keep going. And even sometimes, like like you said, it's not easy. It's like a hard graft. You just keep keep pushing, keep pushing, keep pushing. And sometimes you think, oh dear, it's harder. Sometimes you have to keep pushing the boundary, keep pushing the boundary. And it feels like sometimes the goalpost gets pushing further and further. And then you feel like, oh my goodness, now you set the bar even higher. You've done one record and then the second record. And then it's like, we're our own worst critics, We write the music and sometimes we sit and think, oh no, it's not good enough. It's not good enough. This has to be done. And then sometimes there's that imposter syndrome as well. Oh my goodness, am I supposed to be here? Why am I here? But then you hear things like that and it just encourages you. And then especially when we go to we go to America sometimes. We've been to America 4 times now, and every time we go back, sometimes they're not big audiences, sometimes you might think, what? But the love and the response and just the support sometimes makes you think, wow, okay, you know what? We just have to keep going.
Yeah.
So
you spoke about we talked about authenticity using the language. How do you balance that, like making sure that you still sound authentic, coming from the language you use and trying to push it through the innovations, the modern things? How do you balance that?
Well, the thing about songwriting, I feel like, it's like if you've got something to say, it's kind of how you say it. And with the newer records, we've tried to make sure there's this even split of English and Ibibio, but also trying to make sure that the African instruments are just there represented, as well as the electronic instrument. So what we try to do, Max was he's kind of very much he can hear sounds and he can hear what things should sound like. So he might even take a balafon and put it through a reverb machine, and then you hear the balafon, but then you hear more like an electronic feel of it. So it's all almost like it being pushed through sounds, through synths and through moods. And then some synths can be programmed to sound like certain instruments, traditional instruments as well. In fact, as a matter of fact, I mean, I really, really want to go. And there's so many like instruments that, you know, we don't even have, you know, outside of Nigeria, which I'm
It's true.
hoping that would be able to go and do what we call like maybe some kind of a workshop, some kind of just like exchange, just to try and tap into those instruments that, you know, we don't have over here, just to keep it fresh and keep it authentic and keep it alive again. So yeah, hopefully we're gonna do that very soon. Yeah.
Okay, the next question is this. I've watched a lot of your videos. I've watched the KEXP things in
Yeah.
America you've done. I've watched, oh yeah, is it Oya or OYA
Oh yeah.
festival?
Oh
I've
yeah.
watched, oh yeah,
Oh yeah. Festival in Fin.
yeah, I
Yeah.
know about your shows in Australia.
Yeah.
But I've not seen Ibibio Sound Machine in Nigeria.
Do you know what that is the next phase. We have to go to Nigeria. I don't know
Yeah.
how, but we have to. So if Governor Eno is listening.
Say it by yourself. I wanted to say it, but say it by yourself.
If Governor Eno is listening, well, we're coming out there to do a festival of some sort. So we'd like you to make it happen.
You know, for this interview, I've tagged so many people that the SSA, I tagged the SSA, I actually sent a message to him that, can you join this?
Oh, that's
but
sweet.
I didn't get a response. They don't know me. Nobody knows me. But I just
no.
Like,
Okay,
I have to send the message because I believe we have not done enough. You are celebrated elsewhere, but back home,
yeah.
I mean, you are not yet celebrated, and
yeah. No, we're coming. We're coming. I always believe in timing as well.
Yeah.
Timing. So I think when the time is right, it will happen. We did get asked to go twice, but it fell through. I think once clashed with while we were away, and then the second time it just didn't happen. So, but timing, I believe timing. Yeah, it will happen very soon. I'm sure.
So
I'm almost sure of it. Yeah.
Thank God you're the one that mentioned the governor's name.
I don't know why I said that, but anyway, well,
governor, he's a big before becoming governor, he's been big on hospitality. I think outside the state-owned brands, his outfit is the biggest by private, hotels with different places. So I think he understands entertainment.
Yeah.
And I mean,
it'd be nice to go and do a festival. I mean, it'd be great. I mean, WOMAD was started by a gentleman called Peter Gabriel, and it celebrates music of African culture and dance. And we were in New Zealand actually when we went to do the Australia one, and we happened to do Taranaki as well. And it was just so reminiscent how New Zealand is so much like the South, like Akwa Ibom, like Cross River, you know, the South pretty much is so beautiful, and it just reminded me so much of that part of Nigeria. And I mean, it would be interesting. It would be interesting if, you know, maybe we could get WOMAD to come and do something out there, because there's enough land and there's enough forest.
Of course.
You know, if the infrastructure was right, there would be. Yeah, I think something like that could work. Definitely.
It could. Yeah. Because I think WOMAD has had
they've had WOMAD Africa, but in Gran Canaria.
Okay.
Yeah, so because we played Gran Canaria, and that was actually WOMAD Africa, but
not in Africa.
Not in Africa. But I mean, it would be nice to have something like that maybe in the South.
Yeah.
In the South, and maybe Ghana as well. So yeah.
Hopefully, that would be a good one. But you know where I think you should start from. Do you think of anything like maybe a collaborative album with some of the artists around that can buy into your philosophy, or that you can appreciate where they're coming from?
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I think, to be honest, that's the world. That's the way the world is going, and there's a lot of collaborating happening. So if both, well, how do I say this? if both align in terms of concept and styles, and or maybe not even the style, maybe it could be two different, kind of.
Because like I mentioned, I know a lot of young chaps that before now, like the hip hop thing, the rap thing used to be more Yoruba, then later
Of
Igbo.
course, yeah.
But I've noticed a lot of young chaps in Akwa Ibom and Cross River are coming up.
Exactly.
There's a rap also, and some other language things around there.
Yes, there's a young guy. I mean, he doesn't sing in Ibibio, but I just kind of appreciate what he does. I don't think he's even known. I think he's something Bassi. I think he's what's his name now? Let me see if I can. He's Hilda Bassi's brother.
Oh yeah.
He's a young. He's not doing much. He's not doing Ibibio as such, but he's not mainstream either. But nobody even really knows about him. I just heard his material, and I think, okay, people like that. I think it kind of aligns with what we do as well.
I think you have to think of that because Nigerian fans are too loyal. Let me put it that way.
Yes, of course.
I'll tell you a story of one American singer that got into the Nigerian space through one of our A-list artists. So she grew, her fan base in Nigeria grew like she was virtually living on Nigerian fan base.
Bless.
Yes, so it's true. Our engagement was Nigerian. She started writing, posting in Pidgin English. Then one day she decided to delete all the people she was following to zero, including the A-list artists that brought her to the notice of Nigerians.
Right.
That same day, she lost more than 140,000 followers for that simple. So Nigerians, they are very loyal. If they are by your side, forget it.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
That collaborative album is my own appeal that you should think of it very well.
Yeah,
well, the artists, if you dig, you can get some people that actually,
of course. I mean, I'm all about, like working with the next generation as well, to push the culture as well, just to grow, because it's like I kind of stepped into it because no one had done it. So now it feels like, okay, let's go. Let's all go. Whoever else, wants to get on board, let's go. Let's do it.
No, we'll talk.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's me, I'm closer to what is going on there than you.
Exactly. No, it's true. Yeah. It's true.
Okay, now, I think we just concluded a tour of the summer thing.
Yeah, well, it's kind of, we're sort of in and out. So we've kind of... we've done all the festivals at the minute, so we'll be off to Europe for a little bit, and then we'll be back again, and then we'll be back towards the tail end of the year. We're back in October with a small UK run as well. So we'll be in October 6th to 12th. We'll be at Lace Festival in Cardiff, and then on the 10th we'll be in Bedford Esquires. The 25th will be in Southampton in June Room. And then November 7th will be the Parish Huddersfield. And then November 8th will be at the Foundry in Sheffield. November 15th will be at the Crescent Community Venue in York. And on the 28th of November will be Boiler Room in Guildford. And on the 29th will be a Subscription Room in Stroud. So yeah, we'll be up that way towards the end of the year. So it'll be nice to see as many of our friends out there.
Yeah, they need to come and feel and experience.
Yeah, it'll be nice, definitely.
Your stage presence is awesome.
Thank you. We do have there's a lady that usually she's always like there. She's up in Liverpool, and she's always bringing. She's brought a few of them Bogo community, sometimes, So, but it'd be nice to see a lot more familiar faces, people that speak the language as well, because it's always so nice to see when people understand the language, understand what I'm singing about, and they actually, they just smile and they sing along as well. So it's always great. It's always great to see that. I mean, I know everyone's so busy, with their everyday life and everything, but it's nice to, come out and shake a tail feather and forget yourself for a minute and just get transported to a different place and not have to worry about anything, you know?
Okay, but if you are performing to a crowd that do not understand the language, though generally, like we all know, music is. Do you have that obligation to maybe like educate? Okay, this is while on stage.
Yes, I always like try and explain, you know, what the song. I always give like a background to what the song is about. If there's no English reference in the song, I would always say this song is all about this. You know, this is the talking fish. It talks about, you know, the things that we see that we should not, you know, look at the way they are. But this is in Ibibio, you know. So I would always give it a background on what the song is all about.
Okay.
Yeah, and especially, I mean, think like the song Give Me a Reason. Give Me a Reason, for example. Yeah. It was influenced by the whole incident that happened with the kids that got taken, the Boko Haram incident, the girls that got taken. And it was funny because when that incident broke out on the news, I went into the studio and Max was playing had like some beats just going. And then immediately I got into the studio, the phrase that came into my mind was nomintak. And that's one thing my mom would say, like if something happened and she was like really upset, she would give me a reason, nomintak, why this would happen. So that lie just and then it was just like the whole commotion and confusion that why should this be happening in today's world? I went to school there. Why should this be happening? So the whole nomintak just became like the phrase that just ran through, and then the song was born out of that. So I take time to explain, you know, that in the world that we live in today, why we can't be free, you know, especially even now, the way the things are happening, why we can't be free to be who we want to be. So we ask the question, give me a reason why, which is also nomintak.
Okay. Can you run through your discography, the albums?
Yeah, my God, it feels like a lot of kids. So we had Ibibio Sound Machine was our self-titled record that came out in 2014 with Soundway Records. That was our first, the label that we were signed to. And then after that, we had Uyai, which was released in 2017 on the Merge Records, who we are still under. And then we had Dokomian, which came out in 2019, also on the Merge Records. And Electricity, which came out in 2022, also on the Merge. And most recently, we've had Pull the Rope.
Pull the Rope,
yeah, which is our recent one. Yeah, we've been touring that now, so we're still writing now. So hopefully there'll be something new coming out very soon.
Wow, that's discouraging. But I want to talk about Electricity.
Yes.
Anytime I hear you sing Electricity, you know what I remember?
Yeah.
I remember NEPA.
I know. NEPA. Yeah, I do remember that. I grew up in a time of NEPA. Yep. I grew up in a time of NEPA. But to be honest, that Electricity, I think, because that was written during lockdown.
Yeah.
And it was that whole thing of just, you know, being like under ourselves, not being able to do anything. And I feel like the whole phrase electricity, I mean, it could be interpreted in so many different ways. It was like without that spark, it's like it felt like we had all lost our spark. You know, there was something, our lights were dimmed, we were like living under the shadows. And then, but I felt like we just needed to have that something electric about us again. What I was saying, but without electricity, there seems to be no love.
No love, yeah.
You know, in the world, especially at the time. So it was kind of a connotation, everything. And then, of course, you know, writing about that as well, that kind of brought, you know, I would probably think about NEPA as well, because, you know, there was almost a daunting, every time, you know, that your light got caught out, it felt like, yeah, you of course, physically you're in darkness, but it kind of crippled a lot of things. It brought kind of a cloud, it brought a gloom, it brought something of just, you know, you didn't want to be in that place. You just
situation.
always, you didn't want to be in that situation. You always wanted the light.
Yeah.
So yeah.
They are better now. I learned there's so much light now. People are switching off their lights now.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, I kind of was also paying homage to Fela's Afrobeat as well, because I kind of wanted to like go back to that time. I mean, we kind of were not allowed to listen to Fela's music when we were young because my mom thought it was like a bit of a kind of a troublemaker, but obviously he always speaking about a lot of things that were happening at the time. It was a mouthpiece, the voice of the people and everything. But I think I kind of learned, sort of really appreciated his music, and when, as an adult, pretty much, really understood a lot of the things that he was talking about. And and I think the sons are kind of carrying on the flag as well, Femi and Sheon. We always get to play, and Made as well now. That's right. Yeah, we always get to play. We played same festival, similar shows with Femi and Sheon a lot of times as well.
Okay. Yeah. I think I've just noticed some comments. Paparazzi says interesting narrative. Paparazzi is an artist. It's one of the artists that's close to mine. Okay. Yeah, Juma Flexi, excellent at educating. So more power to your elbow and wisdom. Thank you.
Thank
Chimere Okoha Iroha says, Pipping Ime Osakwe, nice one, very unique Ibibio language to the world. That's my sister.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you. Very kind of you. Thank you.
Yeah, that's all the comments I see. Well, we have spent almost an hour. I promised you an hour maximum.
Oh, thank you, Joseph. Thank you so much. Honestly, thank you. Really been a real joy chatting to you and reminiscing about the old music or music that kind of inspired me as well, and music that we've been able to reference.
Yeah, but one question I'll ask again. You talked about the Chibok girls and the rest. So if they are young Nigerian or girl or from any part of the world that hears your music for the first time and like feels, oh, this spark that, okay, I could do this, maybe not in music, maybe in any creative endeavor, what would be the message?
I'd say, you know what? If whatever you want to do, just go for it. Just do it. Just take that bold leap and just do it. Sometimes it might be scary, and you might think, oh, it might be risky, but anything worth doing is worth doing well. Just commit to it, and hard work never killed anyone.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
This is Music in My Ears. That's the channel, the Nigerian Music History Stories channel. For those that have just come on for the first time, I can only ask you to subscribe and keep on watching this channel. Thank you enough for the time.
Thank you, Joseph.
Like I said, I'm excited and I'm happy for the way things have flown. It's as if we've known forever.
I know, right? No worry, we're gonna get a shake buddy when we're up your way.
Thanks so much.
Until
you. Another time that I can get a guest on here. This is to be signing out. Peace.
Thank you. Bye. Lovely talking to you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Yeah.